All right, ladies, buckle up. It's showtime.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Copperhead Road. And for those of you who are sitting at the intersection of Copperhead Road and No Freaking Way, go ahead and make that right. I think that's fine. Got my wonderful wife directing traffic. We got Footer K pulled over on a moped. How you doing there, Foots?
All right. Let's just say I had 32 cents to put in to fill the tank. It came up a little shy, so here I am. But no better place to be than Copperhead Road. Good evening, Rexy, and how are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. We got a little bit of kind of a special episode. We're going to hopefully break down some of the key points of the Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. I like to have a little bit of spice on that.
Yeah, do me a favor. Don't do that again.
Fuentes, that.
No, yeah, if you maybe hit the tanning salon a little bit long, because I know you got a tanning bed because look at you, you're like a model. I'd like to see you in there about an hour more a day. And then you start with the Fuentes.
That seems dangerous.
Really? For what?
I don't know. Can't you get the melanoma?
No, those things are harmless. Are you kidding me? Don't be silly. They're absolutely harmless.
Put a little water on it, you got a water melanoma. Huh?
Yeah. Our friends from the north.
Always a good one.
Yeah, I hope they enjoy that. Our Canadian pals. Hey, did you get a haircut today?
I cut it yesterday, yeah. I cut my hair, of course.
See how I notice things?
I do. Did you get... never mind. I'm not even going to ask.
I think maybe I gained a few. What's the big deal?
No, I was going to say, I thought maybe you shaved your head. How often do you do that? I think I've talked about this before, but out of curiosity, how often do you shave your head?
I have the head shaver, the electric head shaver. So.
I understand the process. I'm just curious
of
how long you do it.
Maybe it's something personal I don't share with everybody, but you know what? Coming off a hit episode last week, a few days ago.
Yeah.
I will share.
Thank you. Usually
when I wake up in the morning, I grab it and I just, as I'm making the coffee and stuff, like, I'd say once a day, maybe once every other day, But now that I'm getting a little older, I think gray would come in,
Yeah, the funny thing is it's the same thing with even shaving your face. Like you always look crisp on a nice shave part. When you walk out and you shave the old whiskers. But the problem is like if you miss just the tiniest part, you look like a homeless drunk.
Well, especially if you're really, really sunburned.
Yes.
It always goes with that. It was funny you bring up a shave. I was just talking to somebody. Why is my nose so itchy? Doesn't that mean you're gonna get money or something? Anyway,
hope you don't have the sniffles.
What, Bubba?
Hope you don't have the sniffles.
No, the truth. Again, this is amazing. We're talking about like shave, and I think it's like a little hair under my nose. Like,
oh, you have to cut your nose hair.
What?
Do you have to cut your nose hair?
First of all, I think it's a little personal.
How about your ear hair?
Are you wearing a bra?
Do you shave your armpits?
You like lace panties?
I don't think that's... Well, yeah, but...
What
does that have to do with... Of course.
Okay. Are you wearing them now?
Now, that's getting personal, yes.
Fair enough. Anyway, but the thing speaking of shaving, it was funny. Just the other day, a guy had he was talking about he wanted to take his young son to the barber, and they were saying something, and one guy's like, "Oh yeah, no, it's right down, past Dixie and blah blah blah." And I looked at him, I go, and then he looked at me, and he started telling me about it, and I go, uh, "Are you fucking mocking me right now?"
Hmm.
Like, I don't go to the obviously I don't go to the barber. He's like, "Oh no, no, not even for hair. You never had like the shave done with the straight razor, and they took the towel." I
Yep.
go, "You know what? I've never done that."
It's now it's my turn to say it's funny that you say that. I've never done that, but I've told Jen many times where it just sounds like it would be a nice experience.
I'm gonna come over and do it for you.
I'd rather you didn't.
No, 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 no. I'm great with a straight razor. And actually, you want to know the cutest thing about this? I could do it with a butterfly knife.
Yeah, I don't trust you with any kind of a weapon, and neither does the state or federal authorities. So
Your ass. What are you nuts?
up yours.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So let's break into this video. We're gonna again try to we got two different parts that we broke out. I think the two most important takeaways from the interview that Candace had with Nick Fuentes, and so the first one is going to take up.
Are you eating salsa, you son of a bitch? Wow, you're all into this bit. Okay. I love it. Whoa, easy, Chico.
All right. So the first part breaks in right when they're starting to talk about when Candace had gotten fired from Daily Wire, and that she was having again, obviously her life was in a little bit of a mishmash. She sells she shells. And she had Dave Smith on. She had a couple of other people on, and Nick Fuentes was a little upset that she hadn't had him on yet. And there's a little bit of a back and forth on that. Can you
give me the year? Can you give me the year on that? Was it?
I think it was 2020. I'm going to say 2023, 2024. Maybe it was the beginning of 2024, I believe.
Okay. All right. Yeah, listen. Nick Fuentes has to understand one thing. He is toxic. Okay.
Yeah.
He is absolutely toxic. Anything. You look again. If you want to be somewhat successful in a space.
Yep.
You don't want to embrace Nick Fuentes. And the truth of the matter is, if your ideology lined up with his, I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. Maybe you do want to just stick with him, because it is not. Again, we'll comment more as the video goes on, but
yeah,
this is a very very hot video right now. It's hard to get a hold of. A lot of people can't access it. It's been banned a lot of places,
right?
Because of Devilman Nick.
Yeah. All right, so we'll pull it up, and we'll start.
Ew.
Come on now, come on.
What?
Don't fuck up in here.
Hey,
what movie?
You know what? Now you just can't leave.
Ooh, I like that one. Bronx Tales, even better. Mm-hmm. What was mine from?
The truth is, I was ignoring you.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Okay.
Why do you got to give me the hurts?
I didn't know I was not. All right, maybe ignore was strong. I was putting. Okay, here's how I like to say it.
You okay?
I was putting you on a pay no mind list.
All right.
Just at that moment. And all you know how I want you to look at this? Hey, you know what? Footsie Bear loves me. He had me on the list. Not a lot of people make lists.
Hey, babe, just put us on footer and have him talk for a minute. I'll come over there and help you out.
Yeah, no problem. Just let me know when you okay, good.
Just put the camera on footer right now.
Yeah, again, no big deal. Listen, one of the main things that
you're good to go. Okay, all right, so we're good to go. So Go ahead and kick up the interview, and we'll start. You want to unmute that?
Right. And saying, actually, I think we do have that clip. Skylar, I think we do have that clip of me speaking to Dave Smith. Do you want to run that clip?
She has nothing to do with me. She wants nothing to do with me. Doesn't do anything with me. No invitation. Won't bring me on the space. Won't bring me on the show. No acknowledgement. Nothing. But she is going to do a show with Dave Smith, Jew, Aiden Ross. You know, and I like Aiden Ross. I've said that before. I like Aiden Ross. But it's like you get canceled and attacked by Jews, and then you go.
Yeah, again, he's hateable. I don't know. He almost sounds like a nerdy 6-year-old trying to do a Trump impression. And to even boil down Dave Smith, a Jew, like, again, he's as far away from a sympathizer or a pleader for Israel that you can get. So if he's trying to make a stand or something that, it just sickens me right to the core that he's taking that position of a Jew like that even makes a goddamn difference as far as, whatever him and Candace Owens are going to talk about.
Yeah, and another thing too is you have to keep in mind you can notice a little bit of a different
delivery.
Wait, yes, I'm sorry, exactly. A different delivery when he's with Candace and when he's doing his show.
Yes,
but there's a big difference when you are you can see him propagating right the entire time he's on the air. You know what I mean? It's almost a character.
Yes.
Character.
Yes.
That he's trying to be. And then when he's with Candace, he tries to put on this more of a professional. It's almost scary. It's almost like one of those bad movies, like about the KKK or about like like a white supremacy group where
you're in a few
the
of
head,
those,
your ass, the head of the group. During the day he's wearing a suit and he's like, bigger, investment banker.
Right.
But then, at nighttime the hood goes on and he's, screaming and preaching to the Klan.
Yeah.
He's very typical of that. Again, he's still saying hateful shit with Candace.
Right.
It's just, his, I think he tries to do it with a bit of nuance and he fails miserably.
Can I ask you a question? Which character do you think is more genuine? Or is either one?
I think neither. But if I had to say what's closer, I'm going to say it's the one with Candace. And again, that doesn't make it better or worse. Believe me. I truly mean this. They're equally as bad.
Right.
The difference is, and why I say the third option is like you said, neither. I think the neither is someone that is almost on the outside looking in and going, okay, I need to propagate and make money, almost like a Joel Osteen would preach, to his choir.
Right.
Yet there's the sure, I believe in what I'm saying, but you know what? I mean, I really can care less either way. I'm trying to make money. You know what I mean?
Right.
And let me present this in a little more cleaner package.
Right.
Again, it's. Regardless, he's doing a terrible job if in any way, at least Dave Smith can talk about Israel in a way where, whether you agree with him or not, you can maybe understand where he's coming from. And there's a lot of facts to back it up. With Nick Fuentes, there's not that.
And again, speaking of Dave Smith, there's a lot of things I don't agree with him on. There's quite frankly, there's a lot that I do. But I don't think for a second that he's coming from any other place but from a good place. I think he genuinely has a big heart, and he's in a very simplistic surface sort of a way, just wants everybody to get along, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? But I don't see that with Nick at all.
No, exactly. Nick wants to create
Fuentes.
Nick wants to create a movement, and he wants to, think of what is he? What is he? How old? 26 or 24?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
he was 18 or 19 in 2016. So
yeah. So
however the
yeah,
math works, I can't add. So
yeah, it's 8 years later, right? So
right, so he's
there you go.
37.
He's 26 years old. So, and anyway, the point is that he's still a fucking child.
Yeah. Whoa.
As much as he as much as he thinks that he's got all the answers. I think the older he gets and the smarter he gets, I'm not going to say he necessarily moves away from this. He will just understand more how to try to profit on it. You know what I mean? Anyway, do you have any lead up to what's coming up next? Because there was something that you had brought up. Go ahead. Do you know what's coming up next or no?
Well, I think you had brought it up. No, I don't know exactly what you're referring to. So
okay, play it and I'll stop because again I lost track of it.
All right.
Go and give it away to all the Jews, really? And finally, Aiden asks her, so what are your thoughts on Nick Fuentes? And she gives this load of PC response. She goes, well, when he was a kid, he got attacked by them. And I understand why he would be angry and why he would be mad about that. But he needs to grow up and figure out what he wants to do. Oh, really? Bafangul, Candace. Oh, he needs to figure out what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I think
Not
you need to
Fuentes,
figure that
Ellie.
out. Talk about accusing other people of that which you are guilty. I think he needs to figure out what he wants to do. I think you need to figure out what you want to do because you're full of
Yeah.
and everyone knows it. You clearly have no idea what you're doing.
No idea what I am doing.
True.
What do you mean?
You didn't invite me on the show.
But what does that? Just let's first go back to the first layer of what you're talking about. She's speaking of Dave Smith. Yeah. What does that have to do with anything? You call out the fact that I spoke to Dave Smith, that I spoke to Aiden Ross. I didn't speak to them because they were Jewish. I also talked to Piers Morgan, all of these shows following me being fired. So you're just looking at the fact that these two, I didn't even know Aiden Ross was Jewish. I just had a PR agent say, do this. I swear I didn't know.
He's visibly Jewish.
Okay, but just so we're very clear,
I know.
I genuinely had no idea. Your PR person
Pause
comes,
for a
here are the
second.
shows. Okay, yes.
What's that?
I mean, come on. Oh, I mean, he's visibly Jewish.
Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean?
And again, even if you do want to be a disgusting racist, which he obviously is, he's not very good at it. He's not very good at selling it. I mean,
he pretty. I don't know. He's got a pretty good.
Well, my point is that
shelf space.
Well, my point is that he's not going to convert anybody because he's so overt about it.
The only one that is. You're right. He's not converting anybody. He don't get me wrong. Love him or hate him. You can't deny the Jews. Boy, when you want to talk about somebody, think about this, bro. Like I could have said to you like 4 years ago, like not for nothing, but fuck the Jews really. God, a lot of people hate the fucking Jews, worldwide, and then now it's even worse.
Right.
So he really needs to, again, he really is going to lean into this, which is why, when did this was fairly recent, no? This interview?
This interview was only like a week ago.
Exactly. I mean, come on. What better thing to do? And you know what? Fuck Candace too for platforming him. Like, it's like freaking, the Jew hatred parade is Sunday. You know what I mean? Like type of deal. and you're putting this guy on. It's without a doubt anybody on the fence. Let's say you were more of a Dave Smith guy, and you had the illogical facts, and that kind of soured the Jew to you. Now you hear this guy on Candace. Plus, she is again, she's trying to toe the Dave Smith line rather than the Nick Fuentes line. But regardless, my God, like, shame on you, Candace.
Yeah, again, I'll push back on that, and I don't agree with you at all.
I like that.
Ever. No, and the reason I say that, it's the same reason that I don't have a problem with Tucker interviewing the president of Iran.
Different.
But again, I to me, all this does is make him look more silly and pushes him farther away from people that could be influenced, because she definitely presents a much more rational, sane approach in this interview and overall, and again, to me, it just makes him look silly. So,
well, I'm glad that I think, you know what, that's a great point. But here's where I'm going to push back a little bit. You had said that you don't think that many people, he's not going to sway many people. You said,
yeah.
Or how did you put it?
Well, I said that he's so overt in his racism that he's not a good salesman about it.
Right, but my point is, the crowd is so. Remember we talked about like the percentage. Her audience is so huge, and her already having that anti-Zionist flag flying, and then again, respect and understand your opinion, but you're giving the American public too much credit, and especially people that, again, we both agree there's a lot of things that Candace says we like, but do we 100% agree with her with the Jew shit? No, I think she's over the top, and I think she's a little wacky. You know what I mean? So my point is, she already has the audience, a percentage of the audience that's built in, right? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and the people that you're saying they're almost like too smart because he's too overt. No, he's got that Hitler charisma. You know my point?
I understand what you're saying.
To the choir almost.
Yeah.
A percentage of the choir.
Again, my only point is that if you can, people like Richard Spencer and I can't think of that other guy's name.
What's wrong with Richard Spencer?
My point is that there's an easier way to convey an outside opinion. And I was trying to think of that other guy that I always get him confused for, that English guy that was debating Dave Smith on Joe Rogan. What the hell's his name?
Douglas Murray.
The other Murray, Charles Murray.
Douglas Murray.
No, but I'm talking about Charles Murray. I needed that last name to remind me of it. He has a much easier way of persuading, or a much more palatable way of persuading people to his racial. I don't know if you can call it racist.
I understand exactly what you're saying. My thing is, though, it's not like Nick Fuentes is this new voice. He's already been deemed toxic. So my point is, there was no reason for Candace to platform him. Again, I'll say it again. Shame on Candace, because there was no need to platform him in any way. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's fun to dunk on your enemies, I think. So.
I'm sorry. One more thing.
I said I think it's fun to dunk on your enemies. I don't care who.
Again, and it's very entertaining. Here I am, spending a second episode talking about it and genuinely interested in it. So don't misunderstand me. I'm glad it happened for us to talk about. But I you could generalize and do the whole, well, sunlight's the best disinfectant. Not with him. It doesn't matter. the sunlight has already been shined on him.
Right, but
You're-
I sort of look at this as more of like a WWE match.
I love that.
You know what I mean? It's just fun to see rivals, you know, in the arena.
It is. But people that hate Nick Fuentes, which is Fuentes, a lot of the normal people, they're going to hate him when they watch him on Candace. But I'm more apt that it's going to sway those dummies and the people that loved Candace because she took that anti-Zionist sentiment. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Yeah, sentiment. Yep.
So, again, difference of opinion. But I think both have some decent points.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
Yes. Dave Smith, we had a amazing conversation when I was on the Daily Wire.
Mm-hmm.
And so your purview here is, okay, well, they're Jewish and she's doing their shows while not saying to your audience she's doing a bunch of other shows too. How is that not you just kind of honing in before we get to the why you think I'm full of shit and don't know what I'm doing?
Well, here's the beef, okay? And it's pretty simple. Dave Smith, in my opinion, and I like Dave because I've done a show with Dave too, and I think he's a good guy. I respect him. I think he's super intelligent. And, he gave me a chance when a lot of people wouldn't. He had me on his show, and he defended me because he got attacked a lot from the libertarians.
And that's why you suck, because you get somebody who comes out and defends you and has you on the show when you're being canceled, and then you throw him under the bus for because, I don't even know what your beef is. It's like, why not just have be totally like, oh, yeah, that was cool. We had a conversation. I disagree with him on some points.
Well, here's why. Because I don't think that I should be grateful for being given a chance.
It's not being grateful. It's just being a decent enough human being. Forget gratefulness. You don't owe anybody anything.
Okay.
But the point is you kind of lament the fact that you've been canceled. You lament the fact that nobody will have your platform. And in the very same breath, talk about being a hypocrite, you're going after Dave Smith for what? Like, why is she doing Dave Smith Jew?
Well, I'll tell you. Can I explain why? I'm telling you why.
You can.
So my feeling on Dave Smith, and although I like him, is that, look, he is Jewish. He's also a libertarian.
He's such a pussy,
which
bro.
means that, when he talks about, for example, the situation in Iran or Israel, he's an anti-war guy. He says, Trump is a war criminal who needs to be impeached. I don't believe in any of that. I don't care that Trump violated international law. I care that he's influenced by a foreign government. He said on another show, he said, Israel's a satellite of the U.S. We're the empire, and they're our satellite. They're like our aircraft carrier in the Middle East, which is something Joe Biden said, who's an AIPAC man. I think that Dave Smith is somebody who, because he's a paleo-libertarian, like Murray Rothbard, like Ron Paul, like a lot of these guys, he is someone who, because he's anti-war, is sort of forced to confront the Israel lobby. Because if you're anti-war ideologically, you have to talk about who's driving it, which is the Israel lobby. But he's not a religious Christian. He's a religious Jew or agnostic or atheist. He's not really a right-wing guy. He's a libertarian. He's
not a religious Jew.
He says that he's proud of being Jewish. He's proud of his ethnicity. He's proud of Jewish.
Should he not be proud that he's he's just born this way?
Well, but here's the point,
though.
You
don't understand. He tucks his
he's not really 100% aligned with my view. Now, here's why that matters. I think
he slicks them back.
It doesn't.
No, it does.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I'll tell you why.
It doesn't. You can't say I want to create people in the image of myself.
No, that's
completely ridiculous.
I'm criticizing people that I disagree with. And to put it very succinctly, I think that this conversation about Israel has blown up. It's gotten out of their control. Everyone's getting red-pilled. They want to control the conversation. And I think that Dave Smith is somebody that, because he's Jewish, because he's libertarian, they have selected him as a convenient spokesperson for it, because he doesn't really have a problem with Jews and their Jewishness. He doesn't really talk about the whole fifth column aspect of it. He talks about a very narrow aspect of it, which is there's this Israel lobby and they're sort of influential and they're driving us to war. That's one small selection of it.
So you think, just to clarify, you think he's like a psychological
Yeah, that again, you can say a lot of things about Dave, but I think to say that he's a mouthpiece for somebody is absolutely, you're reading the entire Dave Smith thing wrong. He doesn't talk for anybody other than himself.
And the again, I'm going to stay with the same take with Candace Owens. God, she's falling for this like hook, line, and sinker. Okay, so have him on the show, right? On
Yeah.
a very sensitive topic, a very sensitive, toxic person. So that's going to drive views. Then talk about probably the most popular, um, definitely most popular libertarian at the moment.
Sure.
One of the most popular podcasts and voices in the space, um, and all of these things, and Nick Fuentes has now, continued to tug on the ear of Candace. Now Dave, if Dave now responds, which he will, and you want me to tell you mostly why he will,
Sure.
because Dave's ego has inflated beyond belief.
That's
whether
true.
whether I agree with him or not on things, his fucking ego is out of control, and he's getting to the point where he's starting to convey arguments and construct them in a way that no matter what, it's just okay, he can never be wrong. Maybe he can concede that maybe he's not right, but never wrong.
Right. Shoot, you had just said something that I was going to push back on. Actually, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and hit play.
I doubt it anyway.
You're wrong.
Whole operation.
Yeah, effectively, yes.
Oh,
and I don't
that's what it
think
was. Pause it real
he's
quick.
doing that knowingly.
So
Okay, you don't have to pause it.
what's your argument against Candace having him on like in a summary?
Who, Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, Fuentes.
Oh yeah, I think, and you said like you tried to say it was like Tucker having on the president from Iran. Not even close to, in my opinion. One is an important figure that has to do with geopolitics and
Yep.
something that's going on right at the moment. One is an absolute nobody that means nothing.
Right.
And all your and is it doesn't, this is not like, yes, he's evil, so is the Ayatollah or whatever, whoever he had on. It wasn't the Ayatollah, obviously, but my point is two different things, and you're allowing you're having him on your incredibly huge platform,
Yeah.
and then allowing him to talk about them, and almost pick fights with on your platform another huge, influence or whatever voice in the space.
So why do you think she's doing it?
Apparently, it's for views.
Okay, so why are we doing this?
Wow, dude. Yep. You're 100% right. And again, if you feel good about yourself, that's great, bro. You're gonna put us now on the same level as Candace Owens. She doesn't need to do that, my friend. And again, if your comeback was just to be like a dick about it, then that was the dick move.
No,
But
what I'm saying
know,
is
well,
I
know why, Rexy, though. But you know why? That was like a shit argument because you know exactly why we would do it, as opposed to her.
I
At
don't
least come at me with
understand what
something
the
more.
difference is.
You're smarter than that.
I don't see the difference.
One is a major show that does not need any more push. She has enough with the proof that people in civil suits have proven that Macron's wife was a man. That's enough. She could have pushed on that. So, and the truth is, like I said, you comparing what we're doing at our show to what she's doing, shame on you, man.
Not shame on me. You always got to lay down track no matter what you're doing.
What do I got to do?
You always got to lay down track no matter who you are.
What does that mean?
I mean, you always got to plan ahead. You always have to do stuff different. You always got to plan and produce stuff and be relevant. You always got, that better than anybody. So again, I
and my so let's, you know what? It's fun to have bum fights. Let's start airing bum fights.
Okay, I'm down.
I mean, come on. Like, why can't you concede that it's not the same thing?
I have no problem conceding. I don't buy into your argument of her not having a reason to have him on.
Okay, so let's break it down then. Do you find our show on the same level with Candace Owens?
No, but I think the motivation's the same.
Again, let's just go so we clarify things.
Sure.
So we are not on the same level as Candace Owens, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the tree for us to pick from that would be able to be give us content that would be maybe give us a nice push or do something for the show as we grow it. You think that she can't pull from other things, but having this guy, we're talking about it because she had him on.
Right, but I mean, it's the same thing that Piers Morgan does. So why is her doing it different than Piers doing it?
Piers Morgan won't have him on.
Piers Morgan has scumbags on all the time. She had the freaking the white racist woman.
Again, we're talking about Nick Fuentes right now. If you want to start talking about the integrity of shows in general, we can do that.
I'm just talking about the impetus to have scumbags on.
And again, no, we were talking about Nick Fuentes in particular, and
Okay.
why I think that it was shame on Candace Owens for doing it. So you're moving the goalpost to now say, what you're doing is I can't think of the name right now, but it's just that's not what you're doing. You're that's not. We're talking specifically about Nick Fuentes.
Okay.
And going on Candace Owens' show, and then you push back on me saying that we're doing the same thing. I can't see how you can equate that being the same.
Well, what I was saying with the comparison to Piers is that it's not unheard of for people to be on the high tier to have scumbags on for interest.
Do you know why Nick Fuentes can't go on Piers Morgan? Do you know why that he can't go on other shows that are controversial?
Why?
Because again, because again, he's not in any way someone that should be platformed. Again, let him be platformed on his own. Give him the chance to have an audience. That's fine. But let that fucker build it. Let him dig himself out of the fucking problems that he has gotten himself into because of YouTube or whatever. People showing up at his house. I'm not saying that's okay to do that by no means, but let him dig out. Why use a platform like Candace Owens? And again, especially when she has people on that teetering point that are already Zionist, again, not like her, and then bringing up a Dave Smith, who again is usually popular, and again has a reputation of being anti-Zionist, and then taking the scumbag of all of that, Nick Fuentes, and platforming him, sandwiched between maybe two reasonable, maybe not, but maybe two reasonable large platforms. Let's put this piece of shit racist right in the middle.
Well, I'll tell you, because I can speak certainly from my perspective.
As a Jew?
On why I appreciate it. Okay. So I have heard about Nick Fuentes for many years. I've heard about stories about him. I've heard sort of his positions, who doesn't like him, who does, those kinds of things. I had never heard him articulate his position. I've never seen a video of him. I didn't know anything. He was the devil I didn't know.
Okay, perfect. And then let's break that down for yourself, because and I'll let you finish things. So, what did you think about him before you didn't know him?
That he was again clearly a
But I think that they,
he was a racist. I didn't know if he had a lot of clout. I didn't know a lot about his his ability to articulate his positions. I couldn't tell you if he was 5'4", 6 foot, black, white. I mean, I obviously knew he was white, obviously. I didn't know anything about him.
He's 6 foot black.
Right. So again, after watching this, I'm glad I know the devil rather than not knowing him. I'm glad
But you know him. No, but you know him though.
Nah.
That's kind of my point.
I had made monsters out of my opinion of him. I said I didn't know how influential he was. I didn't know, if I really considered him a threat. I don't now because so I didn't know the things that I needed to know.
Let me ask you this: did you really consider him a threat prior, and now you're okay with it?
Yeah,
be
honestly, I did because again, I didn't know how influential he could be. I didn't know. Again, I had no idea anything about him other than the stories that I've heard.
And so and that's great, and I understand what you're saying, but I think it pushes more for the point of, and nothing, for the most part, nothing has changed. You viewed him as evil. You have now put the stamp of approval. Yes, he's evil. Nothing
He's
has
evil
changed.
and feckless.
Both okay. You've added an adjective to him, and an accurate one. Great. But nothing has changed. He's still the piece of shit, but he's now been platformed to more and more people, maybe ones that didn't think he was a piece of shit at first. Maybe they didn't know at all. And now that they hear him or thought he was a piece of shit, now they see, how, he could be normal too. My point is, you're too smart for him. You're not going to fall for that. Where on a huge platform, let's forget anything more than percentage-wise. There is going to be, if there's 1% of her platform that buys into Nick Fuentes and his horseshit and builds him more of a following or success, that's a lot of people when you do the math. And I don't think he deserves that.
So,
and I don't think it does anything for Candace.
Right, but you're making the point that his presentation, through the clips that she plays and what he does on here, is going to be a net positive for him. Is that what you're saying?
No, it could be, but it's not going to be a net negative because, again,
well, if it's not a net negative, then it's got to be a net positive or a zero.
No. Well, no. If anything, then it's going to be no. Then it would be some sort of a net positive for him, without a doubt. You know why? Because, and here, can I just tell you why?
Sure.
You've proven why. Because you aren't going to sway. You knew he was a piece of shit. You didn't need her to put that on display for you. You knew it. So everybody
I did,
else,
because I didn't have that. I didn't have a full understanding. And
but
you keep putting that on me, and I don't agree with you.
But you had enough, though, right?
No, so, there's a lot of things, that you build up as something that's scary and frightful and things until you actually do it, and you're like, okay, yes, this is something that needs to be held responsible, but it's not something I need to be scared of. It's not something that's an existential threat, because now I understand it.
Okay, well, my position will stay as, without a doubt, it brought a net positive to Nick Fuentes. It didn't have to in any way. There was nothing. The guy, and I'll just stick to the same thing. Forget, I won't say you then. The person that knew he was a piece of shit knows he's a piece of shit now. Didn't need to be there. The ones that didn't know, and even, like I said, see it now and go, wow, he really is a piece of shit. But again, let's say that 1%. That could be a large number of people that are swayed. And again, I'm taking into account, please understand, I'm taking into account the platform is already a somewhat of an, or maybe full-fledged anti-Zionist platform. They bring up another person to chat about, which is an anti-Zionist platform. It's very, 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 this is perfect for him. Perfect. And the other two, they don't need to talk about them. They're already as big as they are without it. You and I, we need to talk about what's hot. Again, either way, I respect your opinion, and that's fine. We can, move ahead, or you can have the last, you can have the last word on it.
That's fine.
And then we can move on.
Let's.
No. You have to. If there's something you want to articulate, definitely end with that.
Right? Oh, and I never have a problem not articulating. Hit play.
That they're they're creating the bounds of the debate by having him be the spokesperson because
Who is choosing him as a spokesman? I mean,
Joe
I
Rogan, Piers
could not
Morgan.
disagree with that more. I just want to say that I patently disagree with you on this one. This is crazy. I think that he has moved the ball forward so much for, first and foremost, a lot of American Jews to have the courage to even question Israel, because in the same way that we were kind of brought up in the classroom with the, I guess you want to call it, emotional engineering around the Holocaust, learning about the Holocaust as like the biggest, most evil event that ever happened. Imagine if you're Jewish and you learn about that. It's the same way that Black Americans in the classrooms learn about slavery. So I understood the
Stop saying classrooms.
trigger emotional response that Black Americans had during BLM, because there was so much conditioning that happened in the classroom that makes them think that when someone says white supremacy is back, you have to riot. And I will extend that same understanding. I disagree with it, but I understand that when October 7th happens, it's almost like a childhood trauma for these people.
Right.
You learn this, your whole existence, it's existential crisis for you that something happened in Israel. And then you add in the fact that the ADL is sponsoring these trips to kind of make sure that they stay into this, this is who you are. And if somebody questions this, like we could end up in the Holocaust again. You have to have some sort of an understanding, an understanding, even if it's they're wrong,
Right.
you have to give them a little bit of time, a little bit of grace here. And so for him to be doing what he's doing and to be enduring a lot of the same stuff that I'm enduring, like he is on lists, he is being attacked by every single people, all people that are attacking me are certainly attacking Dave Smith. And your excuse is that he just is born Ashkenazi.
No, that's not my excuse. My problem
and he's
is
married to a
this.
Catholic, by the way. So that
Oh,
even
good for him.
that's the part that I am even more confused about, because you said like he's a religious Jew. No, he's not. He's married to a Catholic.
What I mean by that is my criticism of Jews comes from a religious place. As a Catholic, we recognize that the Pharisees put Jesus on the cross, and the Talmudic Jews are the descendants of the Pharisees. And we also recognize
And he is not a Talmudist. That's
Okay.
what I want to say.
But that's
he's
what I'm
not
saying.
any of those
Fucking New
things. He's
York
married
comedian.
to a Catholic. He's just born Ashkenazi.
But
So when
he's-
I hear you say,
Go ahead, Foots.
I said, he's a New York comedian.
Right.
Relax, Nick. Are you kidding me? He's making him sound like, his parents owned a shop down the Diamond District, and like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and even to make the jump from the Pharisees to, well, some Jews are related to the Jews that put Jesus on the cross. Again, that's weak sauce. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I would say that Nick Fuentes is much more embodied by what the Pharisees in definition were. Power grifters, kind of championing whatever could get them more power. He falls into that category a lot more than others. What was that?
I said, no, I agree.
And the other thing I was also thinking of, the other sort of, I think, positive that could come from this is, I think maybe perhaps a lot of people who are, marginal fans of his may come away with this with a better opinion of Candace. And again, maybe it's just 1% of his followers moderate could help.
Let's give it any percent. You think that's what Candace wants, or should be going for?
What to help maybe change his mind a little bit, change his people's mind a little bit, moderate them a little bit. I think that's a noble cause. Again,
you know what? Then now I understand what you're saying, and maybe using the 1% analogy as I did, that could be that could be in general. The difference is that I think there's a bigger chance of people that follow Candace that love that anti-Zionist thing that could be swayed into his little extra mode than there is that people that are in this hardcore, you know what I'm saying, Jew hatred. What are they going to go? You know what? I think she's right. Like I'm too far Jew hating. I should only hate Jews a little bit.
Well,
like I mean that's.
Well, but it's also you have again, if you're gonna put like say anti-Zionists on a spectrum, you have Candace here, and then maybe Dave Smith maybe in the same camp, and then obviously all the way to the end is people like Fuentes and things like that. There's also the possibility that people who are dipping their toe in it see the end result and be like, holy shit, that
Again,
that can be a little crazy. You know what I mean? That it's even people who follow a lot cults and things like that. Once they see the end result for themselves, they're like, oh my god, I'm going down the wrong path, and they change. So that's a possibility as well.
again, I'm not going to reiterate the same points, over and over. I understand what you're saying, and yeah.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Wait, no, I'm just going to say, I think what we should do is, because we are running pretty long, believe it or not, I think we should maybe break this down into a third part, because there's a lot more to get to. And, now, especially, you and I seem to have a difference of opinion on certain things. Maybe we should do it another way. And I think that our difference of opinion is probably going to end right there, to be honest with you, because if I remember the rest of the interview correctly, does that sound like something that you think? How long we've been going?
Yeah, where are we at on time, honey? What's that? 52 minutes. All right, we'll continue a little bit more of this first half, and then we'll do the second half tomorrow. How's that?
Yeah, and I think that if also we'll see how we'll let the audience also help us decide. And if they tune in and we they like and they watch the episode, and then we can maybe even get close to the last ep. Maybe that'll even encourage us more to or at least solidify that yes, we should do a third.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, but
all right, hit play. We'll play this out a little bit.
Dave Smith, Jew.
Okay.
I think it conflicts with your point about how even white people, like you're just kind of trained that you should just like there's something wrong with you for being born white. No one should feel guilty about how they're born.
Look, it's
like, you know what I mean?
To sum it up succinctly, it's tokenism is what it is. It's a form of saying, we're criticizing the Jews in Israel. How do we soften and dampen the blow? Because we're going to get called anti-Semites if we bring on a guy criticizing Israel. I know we'll bring on a Jewish person, because then we get to say, I'm not an anti-Semite. Here's a Jewish person saying this. And here's the reason.
That's not why I had Dave Smith on. Actually, I had him on my podcast before I even left the Daily Wire. We had a 3-hour conversation about talking about war. And truly, because I think it's important for you to hear this, I think sometimes you internet too hard. The way that Dave Smith came onto our podcast on Daily Wire, he wasn't even on my radar. Skylar, who just met the producer, was a massive Dave Smith fan for years. And just kind of like what the libertarian debate was that was being had. He's like, you got to check out this guy, Dave Smith. And I was like, cool, book him. Let's get him on the show. And it was my favorite podcast that I did at Daily Wire. Mm-hmm. So I just liked him.
Okay.
That's it. There was no incentive of like, well, let me get this guy on again. I was like, can we create the magic of what we spoke about war? Because I'm kind of falling, I guess, down the rabbit hole and learning a lot. And he had a lot of information that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And that was it. So there was nothing behind it. So when I hear you say it, I'm like, okay, are you interneting too hard? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit. Do you think that you can kind of believe your own ideas? And look, we're all guilty of that.
No. And look, I mean, I'm going to stand by my point here, which is that me and Dave Smith are not ideologically on the same page, and will never be, because I am a Catholic and he is Jewish. Because
I don't think that's
because
why.
he is Jewish, he still has affinity with Jewish.
Go ahead.
I don't think that's why. I don't think that's why your ideologies aren't going to match up.
Right.
One belief. I mean, again, he denies the Holocaust, or at the least the number.
Right.
Again, let's say I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but let's say we're going to play around with the Holocaust number. How about we round up just to do it?
Right.
You know my point? There's no reason to say anything less than what is reported. Again, does it matter? You know what I mean? Does it really matter? Less, more. it is what it's the fucking Holocaust. And again, that's not me being trained to say that. You know what I mean?
And again, the other annoying part is he doesn't have the balls to really stand up and say a lot of things that he feels. He'll get it right up to the line, saying, well, I don't agree in interracial marriage, but then I'll kind of go, well,
Well, but you're 100% right. He did it with fucking Dave Smith when he was blah 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 about Dave Smith. All things he does. But I really like Dave Smith.
Right.
That's why I said pussy.
Or he's like, we shouldn't have Jews or blacks, but I don't really hate anybody. Come on.
Exactly. And you can clearly, and this is how fucking why it bothers me even more, because again, there's nothing like, he's not trying to be funny. There's no you know my point. There's
right.
no, there's he's not even trying to be entertaining for the fact of entertainment. He's being charismatic, as a Hitler would do, as you mentioned, a cult leader would do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a big difference between that and being like having a good message,
right,
and being able to market it.
And I'll tell you a problem I do have with both Candace and Nick and any of the Catholics who are also anti-Zionist, because like I've said in the past, I think as a Catholic or as a Christian as a whole, being against the Jews is being against your heritage. You know what I mean? Like I've said in the past, I believe strongly that the Jews are the children of Christ, and we are the nieces and nephews. The children of God. We are the nieces and nephews because of Jesus. It took the Old Testament, brought us into the New Testament, but again, you have to have, for the people. Obviously, I'm the whole Israel thing. Israel as a state nation, I have a whole nother take on.
Yep. We're not talking about that exactly.
But as far as the people go, we do owe a modicum of respect for the Jews, and again, you don't have to like every single Jew. That's not what I'm talking. I'm just talking about, we have to pay some respect to the heritage of the Hebrew people, because again, I think that's sort of how the Bible lays it out.
And he quotes something from I don't want to say it's from the Old Testament, but something on how I think maybe this is a good place to as a teaser, because he does make a point about quoting the I believe it was the Old Testament, about how the Jews should be persecuted, type of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he has an opposite spin on exactly what you said. So again, it's weird how, within Christianity, people can view it. Again, we've talked about even like Andrew Wilson's version of it, and being Orthodox, and but one of the things too that always got me to go back to a couple of other shows when we went back to just the moral aspect, the divine feeling of morality, how that allows you to have such hate in your heart for a people.
Right.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of people I don't fucking like, and I don't mean people in general. I mean individuals.
Yeah, me.
But I'm kidding. I love you dearly.
But
there's people.
Sometimes we make jokes.
Yeah, a little bit.
I do,
but
anyway.
they, of course, and they're always good.
Mm.
But again, like we can all hate somebody as an individual. You shouldn't, but
right.
I get it. But to hate as a people, and then to claim you have Christ in your heart, or to claim that you have this divine thing inside you that was created by God. I mean, it's so hard to reconcile those two things. We can say some really horrible shit, you and I, off the air, on the air, but at the end of the day, it's done in humor.
Right.
Whether somebody likes it or not, whether they get the joke or not, that's subjectable. But what's objectable is that, I mean, which is a clear fact, is that you and I, we don't have that hatred in our heart towards anybody.
Right. And my thing is, and it, it can be broadened out to not only Jews, it can be brought out to Catholics and Amish people and Mennonites and all the like, and even Mormons. People don't like them because they figured out the easiest, most prosperous way to live, and they keep it going all the time because it's the same ideology of people who screw around in school and they end up working at a fucking gas station, and the person who put their nose to the grindstone, did everything right, went to college, made a good living, had a good family, got married before they had kids, they did everything right. They have an angst towards people who know how to do life right, and that's why people hate Jews. It's not harder than that, and it's the same thing again with all of the other religious sects that stay close together. Not sects.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I just know where your mind goes, so I'm just trying to cut that off with the pass.
Not now.
And people who try to expound on that, well, it's a no. You just hate them because they do life better than you, so fuck off.
And there you have it, everybody. You heard it. You heard it there best. Again, I think that's one of many reasons. But I think that's
yeah,
one.
You hate them because of their hook nose. I know. You goddamn fucking racist son of a bitch.
I'm jealous of their wealth. And they sit there when they're plotting and scheming. Mwahaha! Mwahaha! The plotting and scheming Jew. God,
We'll cut that, okay?
Yeah, cut whatever you want. Anyway, the point is, let's continue to try to have a part 3 and continue to expose and see just how foolish Nick Fuentes is. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and tell your friends. Copperhead Road Podcast. Rexy, what do you think? You ready?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll the next part we're going to go into is sort of like the origins of where he kind of got his following, and that term groiper, which makes me want to spit fucking nails every time I hear it because I don't really fully understand it. But anyway, we're going to cut to that where he starts about his origins and how his people became his people, and we'll go from there, and we'll do that. How's that sound?
Again, I think it's a great idea. Let's see how we do with the views. If the views don't step it up, then maybe we'll be doing nothing but America's top chocolate bars.
It's Hershey, just plain chocolate. There's no argument there.
Boom, milk chocolate. Muriel, play us out. Good night, everybody. Great job, by the way.
Round of applause for Jen today. Oh, by the way, Footer, I got a funny little story for you after about our trip to the camp yesterday.
I got to eat dinner first.
All right, fine. I'm not going to tell you then.
No, I just need to eat.
Nah.
All right, good night, everybody.